Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jarl Hjalmarson Foundation. My name is Janse and I'm Deputy Director here, and I would like to start by welcoming all of you and glad to see that so many gather here today. This is the final event before the summer break of the foundation, so we're extra glad to see so many of you. I'm going to leave the word first of all to Diana Janse, who is moderating the seminar, and also to Branislav Borenovic, who has written a report that I think you can find on the tables about the current development in Bosnia regarding movements towards EU membership, etc. And with these words, once again, welcome, and Diana, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jens, and welcome everybody. Thank you to you and to Jonathan and the foundation for having me here moderating this seminar. My name is Diana Janse. I'm the Senior Foreign Policy Advisor to the Moderate Party and the Moderate Party's leader, Mrs. Anna Kinberg Batra. I also have a soft spot for Bosnia, where I spent a year in uniform during the war. So it's really a pleasure and a great opportunity for me to read up a bit on what's going on, and have Branislav Borenovic here, who is, despite his young age and despite his capacity to write papers like this, is also the president of the Party of Democratic Process, our sister party in Bosnia-Herzegovina. So he's a former Minister for Family, Sports and Youth in 2006, and he's also a member of National Assembly of Republika Srpska in Bosnia. So since 2006, if I understand it correctly. So you jumped directly into Parliament and
first government, then Parliament.
Well done. So I will leave the floor to Mr. Borenovic. He will start with some 10-15 minutes, something like that, 10, and then we will have a bit of a discussion, and then I will open up the floor for you to ask Mr. Borenovic questions. So, please, welcome here, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Diana. I know that we have some limited time, and I don't want to talk too much about some short report, because if I want to explain fully situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, probably we would need more than 2 days to work intensively, and that's the reason why you can have some facts about Bosnia and Herzegovina in this short report. You can read it. Regarding the current situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I would say some very important words for the current situation, and after that we can have some kind of debate and have some questions. I would like to share with you some of the latest experience in Bosnia and Herzegovina. As you know, Bosnia is a decentralized, sometimes someone will say complicated country, but that's a country which has some differences, which has some special experiences and challenges, and that's the reason why it's always interesting. When we compare Bosnia with some of the countries in the EU, maybe the best would be comparison with Belgium, that you know how complicated can be politically Bosnia and Herzegovina, but it means that we have to work very hard to find our internal compromise and internal consensus between three ethnic groups, or between three constituent people and others who are living in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's the reason why it's important for Bosnia and Herzegovina to have some internal confidence and trust between us. Regarding the current situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, you know that after the last elections, which were held in October 2014, we formed the coalition on the state level, and we formed the Council of Ministers of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and elected 3 members of the presidency who are from the same sister parties, center-right parties in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and we all belong to European People's Party in European Parliament, which is very important that we have got used to work together. Doesn't matter from which ethnic group we are belonging to. After the election 2014, I think we have unblocked some European integration path of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and in the last 1.5 years we really have done some significant political but also economical issues regarding the Bosnia and Herzegovina path to European integration process. 3 members of presidency, because in Bosnia you must have everything 3, at least representative of Croat people, Serb people and Bosniak people, and that means that we compose member of presidency by 3 members who are coming from Bosniak, Croat and Serbian population. They agreed at the early beginning to create some positive atmosphere within the institutions of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and just to send the positive messages where they agreed about the issues, they can go out of the institutions in Bosnia and Herzegovina, which I think is very, very important that after many years of stagnation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, we have 1.5 very successful and positive period of Bosnia and Herzegovina towards EU integration process. In this 1.5 years, we unblock European integration process for Bosnia and Herzegovina, and even this year, in February, 15th of February this year, we applied for EU membership, which is maybe the most important spot in this year, that we are now on a crossroad how to go further towards EU integration process. Of course, there are some challenges. There are many challenges in Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially challenges regarding the economical reforms, judicial reforms, social reforms, and all other reforms we need to implement in Bosnia and Herzegovina if we want to be equal part of organized society like European Union is. We have adopted so-called reform agenda together with the help of the European Union, where is many set of instruments and mechanisms which we have to implement regarding economical, social and judiciary reforms in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and together with this reform agenda, which has to be implemented in all different levels of authorities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, also we adopted so-called mechanism of coordination, very complicated document which has to define the most important issue in Bosnia and Herzegovina, how we can create so-called single voice to EU, how we can create a single voice where all different institutions in Bosnia and Herzegovina can be involved in this single voice when we are going to negotiate with European Union. And that's the reason why many time has been spent in the last few months, last 1.5 years, to create some documents which can be relevant and include consensus of all political players in Bosnia and Herzegovina today. Regarding that, we have also some challenges regarding the agreement of stabilization and association with the European Union, where we have to create some kind of adaptation of this agreement because Croatia entered the EU, and we have to create some kind of agreement regarding the trade balance with European Union, which is a real challenge for Bosnia and Herzegovina because we can expect some negative impacts in the future about this adaptation, and that's the reason why we have to negotiate in this phase regarding the trade agreement with the European Union on a proper way for the citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Of course, all these issues are present today, but it's most important that our main strategic foreign policy goal is membership to the EU. And political support is presented. Maybe when we compare the other countries in the region, almost, here is the ambassador of Bosnia and Herzegovina, I think 100% of political parties are in favor of EU integration process for Bosnia and Herzegovina, which is very, very positive, and we have to use that positive political impact towards EU integration process as something which we have to focus and create as a benefit of the country for the future process. What are the next steps? Next steps is after the formally application for EU membership, we are now expecting positive opinion of European Commission, which means that very soon after positive opinion we can get a so-called questionnaire like the other countries already had, and after the questionnaire that we can create the final phase which means at the end of 2017, it's our estimation that we can finally become EU candidate country and start with the most important phase of our EU integration process to open the chapters with the European Union. We believe that it's possible. We are sure that we can do that. But of course, it needs a lot of internal efforts, which are very important for us, because international community, especially European Union, has said to Bosnia and Herzegovina 5-6 years ago, we are not any more decision makers in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Now it's up to you to create your own decisions, which means if you create your own decisions, you have to agree, all of you, on the same table, which means that you must have your internal consensus on all very important issues. Unfortunately, something happened in the last 2-3 weeks. We have a little bit problem with controversial results of the census. Maybe some of you have heard that in 2013 we had a census in Bosnia and Herzegovina after many, many years. The first one after 1991, after the war and all what happened. And regarding the publishing of census, we have some controversies between political parties, between my political parties, and also other political parties, regarding the people who are non-residents. We have about 200,000 non-residents who can be or cannot be part of the census in Bosnia and Herzegovina, because most of them are living in Sweden, Switzerland, somewhere in Western countries. We believe, as my political party, that they can be non-residents and they can be statistically as a data of the census, but they cannot be involved in the census as a resident or permanent resident population in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But unfortunately, one decision has been made 2 weeks ago that these population can be added in a census as a residents. And now we have political debates, but I'm sure that, and I believe that we can also create this current controversial problem within the Bosnia and Herzegovina. You have a lot of important data in this report. I don't want to repeat, to talk too much about the report. You can read it. I would like to maybe to leave some more time for questions, because if we go deeper in explanation of the situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina, I think that we will spend more time and can misunderstand the situation. I think I was clear. Bosnia is a specific, decentralized country which passed a very, very dramatic period, which had a terrible war, civil war for 4 years, and after the 4 years of war, which ended in 1995, we have a period of transition, and today we are in a position that we are strongly focused on EU integration process. We have fulfilled some obligation on that path. We have some open issues today, but we agreed that we are ready to reform our country, especially in economy. We are ready to accepted coordination mechanism put into the force, which means that every institution in Bosnia and Herzegovina must cooperate and create so-called single stand towards European Union. I believe that this situation regarding census can be overcome, and also together with the colleagues in the Western Balkan, with the regional cooperation, we can catch the train to the European Union very fast and be in the same train with other very successful countries in the Western Balkan, like Serbia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Albania are.
Thank you, Branko. Thank you for a very comprehensive introduction that I think will serve as a perfect backdrop to our discussions. I would like to start off with a question regarding, you said, well, the war ended, Dayton Agreement was signed December 1995. You handed in your EU membership application in February this year. It's 20 years plus a few months. That's quite a remarkable journey that your country has made during these 20 years. Can you say something about how this, I understand that the EU, the EU as a lighthouse and the reform process the EU helps to organize and formulate has been a help. But how have you managed to heal the wounds in parallel to this?
Okay, when you now go to the past period, and you can say 21 years is a long period, it's a period of transition. It's a period of political fights, tensions, a strong role of international community. It's a period of growing. We have raised as a country in one period where international community has had a quite strong role, still has some instruments which even can dismiss me as a member of parliament, even can say, okay, this is the law, and you have to adopt this law. That's a tool called bond power, which High Representative has. The first High Representative in Bosnia-Herzegovina was Mr. Carl Bildt, and he was really quite okay. He was equal to everyone. But we have passed the period of 10, 15 years where political elites were much more focused to lobby international community to decide instead of them. Instead to lobby the colleagues from other two ethnicities, to lobby them to have solution which is a matter of consensus. And 10, 15 years we have a period where international community strongly was or were a decision maker in Bosnia and Herzegovina. We are lucky now that that period is behind us. Maybe we had some benefits from that, but I believe that only if we have our local domestic decisions, it means that we are sending a message that we are a good country, that we are ready to be a part of the organized society and European Union. Of course, after that period, we have done many tough reforms. Reform of the defense system. 3 armies we made to have 1 army. 3 intelligence service, we have 1 intelligence service. We have managed to have 1 single fiscal organization, fiscal company for value-added taxes to have in 1 institution on the B&H level, of course with some mechanisms and rules where all different nations are participating and controlling each other, which is very important for Bosnia and Herzegovina. We have all rights that anything which is not in correlance with one of constituent people can be blocked. And that's the reason this period was very tough for all of us. But in last, I can say 6, 7, 8 years, international community has changed the perception regarding the role in Bosnia and Herzegovina. They said, okay, after the 15 years, we are now deciding that all political decision-making process is now to be transferred to you. It's up to you to decide if you want to trust each other, if you want to share each other some positive impacts, or if you want to create decisions where you are involved. And that's the reason why in last years we have a decision-making process where we have to agree on all important issues, which means there is no agreement if a Bosniak member of presidency is not for that, or Serb, or Croat. If ministers who are representing Serb people in Council of Ministers are not agreeable with the decision of the Council of Ministers. I think for you maybe it's hard to understand. But then, once when you agree about this decision, then you are sure that you have the best decision, the most qualified decision, and decision which is made by all representatives of the people and population of Bosnia and Herzegovina. And that's the reason why sometimes it's very hard to reach decisions. Sometimes we have to negotiate for days and days, for months and months. But once when we create it, we are sure that behind that decision is Borenovic, also Čović, Izetbegović, Ivanić, and all important political players in the country. And now we are in that phase where we have to think more about trust between us, about confidence, and about the future. If we want to create good future for the people in Bosnia and Herzegovina, we have to trust each other more. We have to talk more, and we have to create decision-making process where everything is a part of consensus and agreement between key political players in Bosnia and Herzegovina who are coming from different ethnicities and different religion and people, etc., etc.
So, well, some would say that, well, this extremely complex institutional setup that you have, that is the heritage of the war and the Dayton Agreement, that is hindering your progress. You're saying, you're giving the other view that it's making sure that the decisions are well anchored. But do you see that this institutional setup will be able to survive as you move closer to the EU and EU membership, or do you think there will come a time when you can move on to something else?
They must survive, because there is no alternative. We can wait and be, black spot in the Balkan, or we can go further, which means that we have to survive, we have to cooperate, we have to coordinate. And for example, if you see the document which we call coordination mechanism, very complicated. Believe me, for me, very complicated. I can imagine if someone would take that and read these 15 pages, but everything is written there. It's written that the highest body of coordination mechanism is a body called Collegium for EU Integration Process. Collegium consists of chairperson of the Council of Ministers, first of executive power on BNH level, 2 prime ministers of 2 entities, 2 most important executive from the entity level, prime ministers of the cantons, mayor of the Brčko district, and they are in a body which is the highest. If some ministerial conferences or some working groups regarding some specific topics towards EU integration process cannot agree on some issues, for example, agricultural policy or healthcare decision on something in 5-6 years, all these specific decision goes to this highest body. And then these people, most important from executive bodies from different institutions in Bosnia and Herzegovina, must sit together and decide what is the alternative, what is the option, or what is the stand regarding some controversial issue, which means we have to survive if we are ready to cooperate. If we are not ready to cooperate, then we will wait. We will wait, other countries from the Western Balkan will move to EU, we will have stagnation, economical, judiciary, social stagnation, we will have people who are not happy, and of course we will have full responsibility why something is not done in the country, which means it will be very hard to find any excuse at that time that Diana is guilty, not me. Now we are the country where you have so many excuses. It's easy to find excuse, but let's do something. Let's create solution. Let's create progress. And that's the reason why I was very positively impressed with the last 1.5 years, besides this issue regarding census. And I believe that these political elites have a chance, if we are smart enough, that we can move this country in an EU integration process more efficiently than until now, if we really work very, very hard on the base and principles of trust and confidence.
Thank you. Well, I usually, when I talk to foreigners about Swedish political system, I usually describe Sweden to be very consensus-oriented. I think I will change that speaking point a bit, because now I understand what you're actually having to deal with. So you pointed out a bit the risks of, if you don't agree national, you lag behind. Other countries move on to the EU, and you have no one else to blame than yourselves. But how? So that's an obstacle at home. How do you see at the EU integration process from an EU perspective? What do you see as the obstacles there? We talk about enlargement fatigue. EU having enough with its own problems, etc. What is your sense? What is coming out of Brussels from a
I would,
EIH perspective?
the easiest would be if we can say, okay, there is some, some approach from the EU we would like to change. But I think this time, it's more up to us. EU can wait. EU has some internal challenges, a lot of internal challenges, and of course, EU can wait. But I can be honest to you here that sometimes EU was even softer to Bosnia-Herzegovina than to the other countries, because they know all our specific internal issues. But where I can ask and more support in EU, it's something which can be some benefit, real concrete benefit for the country. It's usage of the IPA funds, which absorption is not so good for Bosnia-Herzegovina. We are using, okay, if we have, I don't know, some grants to withdraw from the IPA funding, maybe absorption in Bosnia-Herzegovina was about 50%, something like that. Maybe we need more assistance and support from the European Union to get these funds on easier way, not just to get it, but to help us with the procedures, to help us with withdrawing these funds who are available in a huge amount for next 4 or 5 years. It's 11 billion euros for the whole region for next 4 years. And we are expecting, if we are if we are organized well, if we have capable institutions, if we have good experts in Bosnia, maybe we can withdraw 1 billion, which is the best message for the people. That's the best message for the population to see and to say, okay, there is something concrete from the EU, because now population, they are only getting negative stories from the European Union. Of course, on media it's always first to get negative than the positive stories. If you want to change this media perception from the EU, let's use something which are concrete benefits. Usage of the IPA funds is maybe the best area where EU can be more concrete in showing their interest for Bosnia and Herzegovina to become a member of EU. And of course, to be also very honest, EU is trying to help us really in supporting Bosnia and Herzegovina, supporting the politicians, institutions to cooperate and taking a lot of energy into account in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But this is a process where we need both sides to be integrated.
Thank you very much. I now open the floor for questions. Start with Per. Please go ahead. Per.
Politics is a mirror of the people, and of course European can make a lot of not solutions but possibilities for Bosnia and Herzegovina. What about the reconciliation process for the people? If there is not a good reconciliation process, there will be still problems, and EU doesn't lift all the problems from Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's a possibility to use the union as a tool to make a better future. How do you comment on the reconciliation process?
Well, yes, that's a process which lasts for a long time. And of course that politicians are playing a great role. We have to send the message that the reconciliation process is possible, can be fully implemented in a proper time, but it's connected with many different preconditions. It has economical preconditions, has not only political preconditions, has preconditions that you can deliver to the population, to the people, a normal life, that you can open a labor market, that you can attract investors, that you can fully guarantee security for all the people. But I think it's connected with the EU integration process. For me, EU integration process is not a matter of the time when are we going to become a member of the EU. For me, doesn't matter. For me, it's important when we are going to reach EU standards. EU procedures, EU criteria, EU rule of law. And then, doesn't matter if is it for 5, 6, 7 or 10 years. The worst would be if we become a member of EU and not ready for that. For me, it's much better that we have standards reached, that we have pensions like in some of the European countries, when we have salaries, when we have unemployment rate which is much, much lower than it is today, more than 40%, when we have a labor market where people can find a job, and when we can be attractive for investors and fully secured. That's for us EU integration process. That's for us possibilities for reconciliation. That's for us a message that we are country. With all our dilemmas, with all our internal, sometimes misunderstandings, that we are proper country for normal life, and that's the reason why we are ready to cooperate with the HDZ, party with the Croats, SDA, party with the Bosniaks, and also other political parties who are ready to accept all our differences as an advantage. And it means that also that we have to change. We have to change ourselves. We have to create our not only democratic change in society, but also changes within the political structures, within the institutions, and perception of how we can react, how we can create decisions, and how we can deliver results. We have done in PDP something which was untypical. After 16 years, my previous leader of my political party, who formed the PDP, has decided to step out. He said, 16 years is enough. I'm tired. I don't have so energy like you have, new generation, to walk to the municipalities, to talk with the people, so energized, like when I formed the party, and he decided to step out when he was the strongest. He is a member of presidency of Bosnia-Herzegovina. He is on the top. And he decided to transfer the leadership of the party to the next generation of the politicians. And he said, you are in ages now, 40, 45. The best ages he was 16 years ago when he formed the party, that you are now ready to go on the elections, fight for the government, for council ministers, for the positions, and to deliver some results, which means we have to change ourselves. We have to change political party structures and also society, that we can be ready for everything what you said. And also the reconciliation process is something which is there. It's a live process.
Sofia?
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Sofia. I'm a member of parliament. I'm in the Foreign Affairs Committee. I work a lot with development cooperation, and I know we have a rather interesting cooperation going on between Sweden and Bosnia-Herzegovina. It's about 170 million every year, and it's mostly for democracy and economy, market, and sustainable development. I would like to hear what you think Sweden could do more, or if we could do something better. I'm guessing we could probably. So it would be very interesting to hear your views on that. And also we talked about the media climate. It's very interesting to hear, we talk a lot about the hybrid warfare and the Russian propaganda and the media that is state-owned by Russia, and how it affects both Sweden but also the countries close to us. So I would like to hear if you feel that you are affected by the Russian, well, we can call it propaganda or information warfare or information sort of, it's not really war, but close enough. Thanks.
Okay, a few questions. Sweden is very presented in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and we are very grateful to that, especially through SIDA. You invested a lot of money to Bosnia-Herzegovina, really. We know that, a lot of projects, and please keep on that track. If you can add more for us, any dozen thousand euros is important. Any million is important. We still need some infrastructure problems to be solved. We need something which is visible, that people can see. Okay, there is a new school, or there is a new recovered school, new roof. which is supported by SIDA and Swedish people. I think that's the best benefit we can have. You are doing that even better than others. You are not politically asking something. You just say we are here to help development of the country. Jarl Hjalmarson is doing a great thing. I can say great thing because Jarl Hjalmarson is taking a possibility as a part of European People's Party and Moderate to collect 4 or 5 political parties from the Bosnia, from different ethnicity, to sit together, to have joint seminars, to have joint education, to talk how to campaign, how to develop our internal political tools to be developed country. But regarding the issue about Russia, about media, it's not so, I think we are giving too much, talking too much about that. You must know that as a Serbs, as Orthodox people, we are very sensitive regarding the Russian people. But everything has to be connected with the interest. If there is an interest that we get something, some investments for Russia, why not? Why not if it's clean, if it's clear, if it's okay? I think we have to use that. I think the best what Bosnia-Herzegovina can use is that we have links to the whole world. We emotionally have links to Russia, emotionally as Orthodox. Bosniaks, emotionally they have links to the Turkey, to other countries. Croats, they have links to Vatican, to some Western countries. Let's use that as a benefit, not as a part of misunderstanding. Let's use it to attract these people to open some investment premises. I'm not sure that it's going to be so huge. Medias, there is no control of any Russia medias in Bosnia-Herzegovina. I can be definitely for sure. I know medias. Of course, there is a matter of media is very important because we have medias who got used to be controlled by political elites in the country, which is more dangerous than anything else. We have public media who are some of public media controlled by ruling party, which is, I think it's not smart. Doesn't matter if it's mine or other party. We need independent medias, especially public medias, because for private medias it's up to them. It's private interest if they want to support one or two or a second political party. But public medias must be fully independent. I think they are not today. That they have to work much harder to be developed as an independent public medias, which the news which will be equal to any political options. But regarding Russia, I'm not sure that there is any such a huge influence, only influence which is more connected with the emotions, with the links. But the best answer is that 100% of political parties from all over Bosnia, but also Republika Srpska, are in favor of EU integration process. Regarding that, we don't have in the parliament of Republika Srpska any political party, any who are at least officially against EU officially. Maybe some of them, you know, we have some, we can talk about that. We have some political parties who are, yes, we are for EU, but this, because they are afraid about standards, criteria, procedures, rule of law, afraid of what to deliver once when they enter the EU.
More questions? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions that refer also to some of the previous questions that were posed to you. One is if you had to make a pitch to the European Union, why should the European Union care about membership of Bosnia-Herzegovina in the future? So sort of what do you bring to the European Union of today, or the European Union how it is developing, that will make it a good partner? And in relation to that, I also wonder, I was last September with an international group in Sarajevo, and to my surprise there was a lot of talk about NATO as a tool to help you reform. And that was sort of an aspect that me, having studied the European Union much more than NATO, surprised me. So now you were talking just about the European Union. So what is the role of NATO? Is it still an important tool for reform? What are the ambitions in relation to the European Union? And in the context of that current polarization, because we know there have been a lot of comments regarding Montenegro, and it is not an uncontentious issue, both European Union membership and NATO membership. So I'd be very interested in your views on that. Thank you.
Yeah, you noticed properly about the NATO. Okay, regarding what we can bring to EU, it's not that we are only geographically part of EU, but I think naturally we are part of the EU. But Bosnia and Herzegovina, in that context, you can watch as a region, as a whole region of Western Balkan, which has some capacities which can be beneficiary for the EU. It's not a small market, okay, but if we are all together, it's a quite proper market also for the EU companies, but also because we have quite good labor in these countries, which can be beneficiary for the EU companies once when we have full political stability, economical stability. I think Europeans would use Bosnia and Herzegovina, but also another political parties, another countries in the region as a good area for some kind of the development of private entrepreneur sector and some issues which can be used for the European Union because we are close geographically. We have some special skills. We are the same people. We are attractive for the EU on that way as an area for good business in the future, which can be attractive for the EU. That's what I believe that EU can use, especially because there is a lack of labor in the European Union. There is a lack of special labor for some specific sectors. Why not can be moved today? Now we have some companies who are very interested to invest not only in Serbia, not only Macedonia, but also in Bosnia and Herzegovina. There are many examples. Why? Because it's a better profit. They have lower costs for the businesses, and they have quite skilled workers, which they still have in the European countries, and they know people from Bosnia and Herzegovina here also in Sweden, like people, also Serbs, Croats, and Bosnia, they know how they work here and how can be also good workers and good partners in the future. Regarding NATO, that's for us, for my political party, that's the question of the general security umbrella, and it's a question of the whole region. We are not ready to accept that separate one country is a part of NATO and another is not. It's connected long term with the future of Serbia, because we really much more, we prefer and we'll watch what is the intention in Serbia. We are both countries working with NATO standards. We are part of the MAP. We are both, first we have a partnership for peace. Regarding NATO, it's not a decision for tomorrow. It's not a decision for 1, 2, or 3 years. But for us, it's very important what is the future of the region, because we believe that for Republika Srpska, for Bosnia and Herzegovina, is not good to have a border, NATO border on the border with Serbia. And that's the reason why we don't want to push very hard and to talk too much about accession to NATO, because it's far away. But we accepted to be part of the MAP, Membership Action Plan for NATO. Our defense forces are working with NATO standards. We are cooperating with NATO, and that's a process. That's a process which takes some time. Now, talking too much about NATO, which you can publicly understand that it's tomorrow, I think just can make some misunderstanding of the NATO position and position of the countries in the future. But definitely, we want to watch and be focused on NATO issue as a regional issue, because full stability and security in the region is connected with the whole countries, not only with one country. And that's the reason why we are separately talking about EU integration process and Atlantic or NATO integration process, but we are in favor of working with all these standards like other like other countries.
A final question we have time with? Ambassador?
I'm Vesna Čužić, ambassador of Bosnia and Herzegovina here in Stockholm. I would like first of all to thank Jarl Hjalmarson Foundation for bringing Bosnia and Herzegovina back into focus here in Sweden. And also I have to agree with the speaker today that Sweden is so much present in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and that we are very grateful for all kinds of support that we have been receiving from Sweden during this post-war period. I would just like to give one suggestion. As my colleague, if I may say, said, there are some questions that, like it was Arabic countries' investments, like NATO, that we have different attitudes speaking about different constitutional nations. So just one suggestion, maybe for the next time that you plan also the representatives of the other constitutional nations to come here or together or separately to present and to give more information on certain issues that we all cannot speak about in the same way. So that was just my suggestion and my comment, and thank you for this presentation of Bosnia and Herzegovina that also I think brings hope also here to Sweden that we are moving forward, that we are on the way toward EU integration and that we are very decisive on this. Thank you.
Just a comment. Yeah, of course, if we think together, we will be all in one political party, like in Sweden. It's important that on these issues, EU issue, we all have the same approach, and everything what is in this small booklet is completely balanced. Madam Ambassador, she knows that it's a facts. It's something which is completely current situation regarding the EU integration process in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Regarding some specific issues, of course, that we are debating. We have to debate. We have to find the compromises, and I think it's important that we are talking and discussing about also some future issues, and that's the reason why every time when I answer on some question, I said my political party's stand regarding some of these issues. But generally, EU integration process is something which for us is the top priority. Fight against terrorism is also a top priority. We need your help in this. I'll notice I said some of the issues. Challenges of the full security is also something which is priority of the country, but definitely this is the process where we have to communicate both with the EU and with the internal political players. At the end, I want to comment just that regionally, I think the cooperation within the region is on a very, very high level. Now, after all misunderstandings or some kind of controversials, I think the regional cooperation is something which only can help all of us. Maybe the best benefit can have Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's the reason why our connections with Serbia, with Macedonia, with Albania, with Montenegro is very, very important, especially in the context of EU integration process. And I hope that we will use experiences from Croatia, which are the most fresh for us, experience from other countries who joined the EU recently. Sweden, we need for all these resources you have as a country, and I'm sure that if we create more confidence and more trust between us in Bosnia and Herzegovina, we can not only survive, we can be a very successful country.
Thank you. On this happy note, I suggest we join in an applause thanking Branko for coming and sharing his wisdom, and wishing you best of luck also.
Thank you. Thank you.